Translator, Dark Angel. Editor, your sister. Kill your sister. Ling Han snorted coldly. You're rebuking me? Liu'er felt wronged to the bone, and at once puffed out her cheeks in a pout. The person outside is in spiritual ocean tier. Ling Han barked. Liu'er was instantly choked silent. It was precisely a spiritual ocean tier expert, Shu Kei-shin, that she and her elder sister had fallen to. If they had been capable of killing a formidable martial artist like that, then why would they be hiding here now, nursing wounds in the shadows? Then what do we do? Yun Shuang turned toward Ling Han. She had not yet fully shaken off Lady Yan's oppressive authority. Her mind was in chaos, utterly at a loss. Ling Han pondered a moment, then said, All of you go and hide inside the inner room. The three girls hurried into the inner room, while Ling Han walked to the main door and pulled it open. At the doorway, Lady Yan stood as if arranged by a painter's brush, poised and graceful, radiating a mature, exquisite allure that no wet-behind-the-ears young girl could ever compare with. She curved her lips into a soft smile and asked, What were you busy with, Mr. Ling? I waited outside for quite a while. She was suspicious? Ling Han's face remained calm, his heart steady. This woman's love for her son was deep and fierce. There was no doubt of it. Yet he had never imagined her schemes could run so terrifyingly profound. Years ago, she had already woven Yun Shuang into her web. If Yun Shuang had not coincidentally overheard the conversation between her and Yan Tianzhao, then perhaps even to the moment of her death, Yun Shuang would still feel nothing but overwhelming gratitude toward her. But think again, how could Lady Yan be a simple character when she could turn cherishing Flower Pavilion's business into such a roaring, flourishing establishment? Nothing much. I was just playing around with who knew. Ling Han smiled lightly and said, Does Lady Yan have some business with me? So I can't come by for a chat if I don't have any business with you? Lady Yan smiled sweetly, her charm flaring without restraint. It only raised goosebumps on Ling Han's skin. You're already a middle-aged woman in your 40s. No matter how enchanting you are, you wouldn't actually make a move on a young man like me, right? He frowned and said, It is not proper for a single man and woman to be together alone. Mr. Ling is really good at making jokes. You and Tianzhao are brothers, and you're both of a younger generation than I am. How does your theory about a single man and woman make sense, then? Lady Yan replied evenly. Then she giggled, her body giving a light tremble as she said, Mr. Ling, could it be you've hidden a beauty in your residence and fear I would discover her? She pushed her way in, and Ling Han had no way to stop her. A spiritual ocean tier martial artist was far stronger than he. Hu Nu instantly glared at her, naturally treating Lady Yan as an enemy. Ling Han scooped Hu Nu up to keep the little girl from being injured. Should Lady Yan truly dare to strike, then followed at Lady Yan's heels and said, I do indeed have a young girl hidden here. Oh, who is it? Lady Yan asked as if it were casual. How could it be anyone but this little girl here? Ling Han laughed. He knew Lady Yan was already suspicious. That was why she had forced her way in. Yun Shuang was clearly of critical importance to Lady Yan, so much so that Lady Yan could even turn hostile toward him for her sake. This concerned Yan Tianzhao's future prospects. One should never underestimate the maniacal lengths a mother could go to. For her child, she could do unimaginable things. Lady Yan started slightly, then instantly dissolved into delicate laughter. She did not mind showing off the waves of her body before Ling Han, making Ling Han feel disgusted. This body was a bit too old for his tastes. He had zero interest in seeing anything at all. Mr. Ling, has Shuang come here previously? She suddenly stopped, turned, and asked. Naturally. Ling Han nodded. Lady Yan invited me over for a banquet a few days ago. Didn't you send Miss Shuang over with the invitation? Shuang did not come here today? Lady Yan asked, her tone layered with meaning. Ling Han knew this was the moment they would lay their cards on the table. If he answered no, and Lady Yan found Yun Shuang here, then their relationship would naturally shatter completely. No, Ling Han denied without sparing even a moment's thought. Though he had always had a heart that sympathized with the weaker party, Ling Han felt that someone who could manipulate the adopted daughter she herself had taken in such a manner, was disgraceful. Mr. Ling would not mind if I take a look for myself, right? Lady Yan asked. If I say I mind, would Lady Yan listen to me? Ling Han countered, sighing deeply in his heart. If Guang Yuan had come over today, it would have been good. Lady Yan merely giggled delicately and began to stroll through his courtyard, quickly arriving at the room where the Liu sisters were staying. She gave a light push, and when she realized the doors were locked, a cold smirk curled at the corners of her lips. She suddenly sent power through her palm, and Pa, the latch that held the doors shut, was smashed apart by sheer force. A creak sounded, and the doors opened slightly. Lady Yan gave another light push, and the two doors instantly swung wide. "Yah!" A girl had been in the middle of putting on her clothes. Seeing the visitor, she hurriedly pulled her clothing up to cover her breasts and cried out in alarm, "Who are you?" Lady Yan's eyes swept over her. This was a young girl, an extremely beautiful one, but she looked completely different from Yun Shuang Shuang. Moreover, Lady Yan was far too familiar with Yun Shuang Shuang. Even if the latter had disguised herself, there was no way Lady Yan's eyes would be fooled. This girl was obviously not her. I'd like to request Lady Yan to keep my secret. Ling Han deliberately sighed. Please do not tell Yu Tong. A flash of suspicion passed over Lady Yan's face. Could it be this girl was Ling Han's little girlfriend, and that was why he had repeatedly tried to stop her from entering? Was it really that simple? Yet why did this girl look a little familiar to her? As she thought, she slowly nodded and said with a smile, Men are indeed all greedy and lecherous. Yu Tong is the princess of the Liu clan. Treat her well. Do not miss out on such a wonderful relationship. Ling Han could only grin awkwardly. Then I shall not disturb the two of you. I still have matters to attend to, so I shall beg my leave here. If Mr. Ling is free, please do come frequently to the Cherishing Flower Pavilion to play. Tianar misses you and Yu Tong very much. Lady Yan turned and left. I shall escort you. Ling Han turned, winked at Liu Feng inside the room, then escorted Lady Yan out. When they reached the doors, Lady Yan abruptly turned around and asked, Mr. Ling, what is the name of that girl just now? I seem to have seen her somewhere before. How could that be? She is just a silly girl who has never seen the world, Ling Han said with a smile. Lady Yan nodded, turned, and left. Ling Han closed the door and hurried to the room. At this moment, Liu Ru'er and Yun Shuang Shuang had also crawled out from beneath the bed. They had been holding their breath and hanging from the bed frame the whole time just now, so now they were panting hard. Thank goodness the old witch was fooled and left, Liu Ru'er said, patting her chest in relief. Ling Han shook his head and said, Maybe not. Hasn't she already left? Liu Ru'er asked, utterly baffled. She has, but she hasn't let go of all her suspicions, Ling Han said. If it weren't for the fact she didn't want to completely turn hostile against me, she would have searched the whole courtyard just now. However, this only delays her for a while. He paused, then said to Liu Feng'er, However, your identity has been exposed. I believe she will quickly recall you are a wanted criminal. That's impossible. Liu shook her head, then said proudly, I deliberately let my sister step out just now. No one has seen her real face before. Are you an idiot? Ling Han said bluntly, pointing at the mirror. Just look at how similar the two of you are. There would also be some discrepancies with the portrait of the wanted criminal, so the two of you can completely be taken to be the same person. She must have gone to inform the Imperial Guards by now, and before long, the Imperial Guards will arrive to investigate. By then, the three of you will be found, and her goal will naturally be achieved. Translator, Dark Angel. Editor, Kurisu. Then what do we do now? A thread of unease surfaced upon the three girls' faces. Of course, we flee. Ling Han flicked his sleeve, waving them off. This very moment, right now, each of you disguise yourselves and leave the Imperial City. Yi, how did you know that we know how to disguise ourselves? Liu Ru'er was stunned once more. Ling Han let out a sigh, then looked at her with scorn. Don't forget, I've seen what your sister looks like after she's disguised herself. Oh, right. Liu Ru'er clapped her hands, then looked somewhat dispirited. She truly was so foolish, always being mocked by this fellow. Move. You don't have much time left, Ling Han urged. The three girls swiftly began disguising themselves. The Liu sisters were masters in this craft. They disguised themselves first, then helped Yun Shuang Shuang with hers. In an instant, they became 3 young men. What astonished Linghan was that, somehow, they managed to flatten their breasts, and an Adam's apple even protruded on their necks. They donned Linghan's clothing and brought along some cash. Their original garments, skirts and the like, were burned to ashes in the courtyard. Young Master Han, thank you. In the future, if I get the chance, Shuang Shuang will do everything to repay your great kindness. Yun Shuang Shuang thanked him. Ling Han shrugged and said, if you haven't been sold off by the sisters, then we'll talk about it. Pay? We're not human traffickers. Liu Re rolled her eyes. She felt Ling Han was truly detestable, always bickering with her. Mr. Ling, we shall meet again. Liu Feng'er curtsied. Yet because she currently appeared as a young man, the movement was exceedingly strange. Go on. Ling Han waved them off. The 3 girls left, and soon there was not a trace of them remaining. Ha ha, it's finally quiet around here, Ling Han laughed. In truth, this had been his real aim. He had finally driven off 2 freeloaders, so he was immensely pleased. Yay! Hu Niu also clapped her hands in delight, though she had no idea what Ling Han was so happy about. Yet Ling Han had not guessed wrong. After more than an hour, a troop of imperial guards arrived. Though their tone was polite and they even apologized for disturbing him, they still insisted on searching through Ling Han's courtyard. Naturally, nothing was found. They apologized again and begged their leave. They had come in haste, and in haste they departed. Ling Han sighed. It seemed he and Lady Yan were firmly set upon opposing sides by now. It wasn't that they hadn't found the person she sought, but that they hadn't found anyone at all. Since one person could vanish, then naturally 2, even 3, could vanish as well. For her son's sake, Lady Yan immersed herself in stratagems and could even draw the adopted daughter she had cared for over so many years into her schemes. What more him? Forget it, I'll just offend her then. Anyways, I already have many enemies, so it makes no difference if I gain another. Ling Han lazily stretched. He should go prepare their meals. Hu Niu was already hanging from his neck, endlessly shouting, meat, meat, meat. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye, and Guang Yuan had finally arrived. Yet he did not choose to stay within Ling Han's courtyard. Instead, he found another courtyard near Ling Han's own. In any case, there were plenty of empty, unoccupied courtyards in this area. With a bodyguard at Spiritual Ocean Tier, Ling Han naturally felt far more at ease. This was true battle prowess. So long as no one in Spiritual Pedestal Tier appeared, there were not many who could defeat Guang Yuan. Moreover, with a little guidance from Ling Han, it would be enough for Guang Yuan to become invincible against anyone in Spiritual Ocean Tier. However, Ling Han was not in the mood for this right now. His cultivation speed was too swift. Now he had reached the peak period of the 9th layer of Element Gathering Tier. He would have to either break through to Gushing Spring Tier or else remain at this cultivation level, with no further increase to his battle prowess. It wasn't that he lacked a way to break through to Gushing Spring Tier. Rather, he was presently faced with a choice. He could still attempt to challenge and break through to the 10th layer of Element Gathering Tier. This was a cultivation level that existed only in legends and theories. At least, as far as Ling Han knew, no one had ever reached it before. Break the limit of 9, seize the one of the world, and reach perfection. But was it truly possible? In that predecessor's records, it was only a conjecture, never accomplished. Ling Han seriously weighed the odds of success. In his previous life, he had already stood within Heaven Tier. Naturally, he had no need to ponder such a question, as he had long since passed this stage. Yet the current him not only retained the comprehension of his last life, he also possessed the necessary conditions to qualify for this attempt. And that was what made him hesitate. How great was this possibility? Ling Han tried to deduce the potential outcomes, yet still could not arrive at a conclusion. It could only be said that, in theory, it was indeed possible, but without proof in reality, everything was merely empty talk. A madness slowly brimmed within his eyes, and he decided to gamble. In this life, he cultivated the indestructible Heaven Scroll, an astonishing technique of such high grade it could not be estimated. Then, with such a cultivation art in his hands, should he not ensure that his foundations would be incomparably sturdy and firm? Element Gathering Tier was the second cultivation tier in martial arts. One could say it was only the beginning, yet it was an extremely crucial step, for the subsequent 7 tiers would all be derived from this one tier. He decided to take this risk. He began seclusion, to challenge this 10th layer of element gathering tier, one perhaps no one had ever reached before. Within his dantian stood 9 great origin nuclei, and 45 smaller origin nuclei, arranged into the form of a 9-palace array. It was an exquisitely stable and subtle configuration. If he wished to insert another origin nucleus, where should it be placed? Ling Han felt a headache rising. Though he had decided to take the risk and make the attempt, he truly had no idea where to begin. How could innovation ever be easy? He had contemplated many possibilities, yet rejected them all. For if he could think of them, then naturally his predecessors would have thought of them as well. Even if they themselves had missed the chance, how could they not allow their juniors to attempt it? To complete this step successfully would naturally require him to deviate from the orthodox path, or even go to extremes, into a dead end. Only then could he be forced into such desperate straits that he would have no road left but success. Ling Han hesitated again. If he merely needed to follow his predecessor's footsteps, then so long as his foundations were firm, with his immortal grade spirit base and the indestructible heaven scroll, he would certainly advance faster and go farther than he had in his last life. So it seemed there was no need to take such a risk. Yet his heart and spirit grew even more resolute. He wished to become the strongest in this life. His heart and spirit returned to calm, and he began to consider a great many strategies for how to proceed with this gamble. A vast number of options were immediately struck out the moment they arose, and at last only 2 possible methods remained. The first was to have the 9 great origin nuclei repel one another, creating a special space wherein he would form his 10th origin nucleus. The second was to fuse all 9 great origin nuclei into one gigantic origin nucleus. This too could be regarded as one, conforming to the Tao of the world, becoming the elusive one. By comparison, the second strategy was practically madness. Thus, Ling Han decided to attempt the former first. He labored to make the 9 great origin nuclei repel one another, carving out a special space between them. This step was feasible, yet the problem was that the 9 great origin nuclei were the source of his energy and power. Now that they repelled each other, all his energy and power was spent here. So how could he have any extra strength to form the 10th origin nucleus? Ling Han tried method after method, yet still there was no way to resolve this issue. In the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed, and he was still where he had begun. Was this path impossible? Ling Han sighed. He had already squandered a precious 10 days, so he neither wished to, nor could continue delaying any longer. He still wanted to break through to Gushing Spring Tier and comprehend the secrets of the Black Tower. Then he would give the second strategy a try.